Welcome to the channel on the surf. Here is the family, Sandra, Hector and Jack. My name is Jimmy and we are the family that lives on the surf. So yeah, it's time for some woodwork. This hatch is made of some kind of plywood, I guess marine grade plywood, but it's still not intended to be outside all the time. So that one has started to do delamination and the veneer is totally gone. So that one we're gonna replace and we're gonna make a new one in massive mahogny. Let's go inside and see. So let's go inside and take some before pictures. So yeah, here in the doghouse you can see all the wood is in pretty bad shape, but we are gonna try and fix that. We will see. That one we need to replace. These looks to be okay, but they are in big need of some new oil and paint. And this table we're gonna take home and try to bring back to life. So now it's just to screw everything off. So it's time to replace the cover for the anchor box. Yeah, it really has seen its better day. This, I guess, is the original topside. It's, you know, your basic marine grade plywood. So it's some basically just a piece of plywood with a really thin teak veneer. And previous owner, when this got bad, he just flipped it over and painted some white stripes on it to make it look like a teak deck. But yeah, it's laminated, it's all busted up. So let's go and make a new one. And the new one I'm not gonna do in plywood, I'm gonna do it in massive mahogany, and I hope that will turn out really good. So let's go and cut up some mahogany boards that I have left over. So now it's time to glue this up. So I'm just gonna add a line. And yeah, normally don't use this pens on wood because the paint goes in the wood, but since this is painted already, that shouldn't happen. Yeah, so now it's just to clean up the surfaces a bit. So now comes the tricky part. Get these lines up and in level as well, without getting too much epoxy on my fingers. Yeah, so there it is. Now it's just to let that cure. Let's see what it says on the box. Should press the pieces together for at least 2 minutes until the glue has cured. And I don't really understand this because it says squeeze them together for 2 minutes and after 20 minutes in room temperature it sticks. So I'm gonna keep it a lot longer than 20 minutes anyway. Full strength is achieved after 24 hours. So we're gonna leave that until tomorrow and then we will see. Yeah, so now it's time to cut this down to size and clean it up.
Titta pappa.
Yeah, so now we have the basic shape. Now we're just gonna clean up the lines. And yep, I used black when I made the first drawing. So now we're gonna switch colors. Kan du lysa lite om det håller?
Ser du? Ser du något? Lampan är släckt och lampan är släckt.
Kan du vara snäll och tända så vi ser vad vi gör?
Men alltså den ser ju skitstark.
So there we have it. Now it's just to cut it out, but it's time to go on Christmas dinner first. So we're gonna continue this evening. So let's cut this down. So now it's roughly shaped. So now it's just to dry fit it and see if we need to adjust some measurements. But that's for tomorrow. And yeah, I did glue on some pins and a water level that's we're holding the board totally straight while these cured. So now it's just to get everything off. Now it's just to sand off all the old varnish. I did sand it off just on the spaces where I was gonna glue. So let's just sand everything else off. Yeah, so now we are at the final steps. I just cut this up because this one is gonna be a hinge. I'm gonna show you why it's like that when we mount it on the boat. Now we're gonna trim the edges, so around a bit. So yeah, of course I nicked it a bit here, a bit here. So we are gonna mix up some epoxy, add some sawdust from the sander. So now it's waiting again until this is cured. Then we are gonna varnish this. Yeah, I forgot to press record, but what we have done since we milled the edges is just we have added one coat of varnish, and as you can see, this was about 1.5 hours ago. There are dry spots and the surface is quite rough, so I'm gonna go and get one thing. Yeah, and what happens when dry wood gets wet the first time, it doesn't matter if it's with water or with oil, the fibers do a bit like this. The wood fibers does a bit like this. So now we are just gonna sand that off, and I use a normal washing sponge with a Scotch-Brite on the side. So now we have brushed out the fibers. So now it's just to apply and apply and apply. I will guess I will put on somewhere between 10 and 15 coats, about half an hour to an hour in between, so this is gonna take a while. Okay, so that's 2 coats, and when you are done between the coats, you need to wrap the brush somehow. Otherwise this will cure and you can't continue using it. I always use these one-time use gloves. Grab the pencil, like so. Ta-da! And when it's time for the next layer, just put on your gloves, rip that off, and we are good for painting. So now it's just to set a timer for half an hour, put one more layer and another half hour, and so on and so on. So a small piece. So now just to let this dry until tomorrow, and then we will see the final result. Yep, so this is the day after. Turned out really nice. Let's put on some more light. And then that one's gonna be like that with the hinge. But yeah, I need to let this cure for about 1 more day. It's hard on the surface of a varnish, but it's still, what do you call it? Quite soft, so if you press on it or something, you will leave a mark. And I don't want that, so I will leave this for another 24 hours. Yeah, so now everything that we are gonna take home is screwed out and taken away. The table, door, lid, back door, lid, and even the frame. These we're gonna have to do here on site. That one we are gonna cut out a new one because it's too bad. Everything is laying there, so now it's just to load it up in the car. So here we have the table. As you can see, it's really, in really bad shape. Doesn't look nice at all. So now it's time to sand it down. Yeah, so now it's sanded. I went with first 80 grit, then 120, and then finally 240. And yeah, this is Kina oil. It's not China oil as many says. It's Kina oil. I don't know what it stands for, but it's heavy, free oil, good for hardwood and stuff like that. Apply it with a sponge or a brush or something. And this you need to apply many times, because you need to apply it, the wood will soak it up, and you will apply again until the wood doesn't soak up anymore. And then don't forget, when we are at the final touch, when the wood is full, take a new dry sponge and just wipe off the excess. Yeah, I really like to use a sponge when I'm applying oil because it soaks up so much oil, so you don't have to dip the pencil all the time. Yeah, and the first layers you can go on, as you can, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you can see dry spots. So now here in the beginning, it's just to go at it directly again. So now I have applied, I think it was 5 coats. The first 3 I just put one on, and when I got to that end, I can just start over again. So now it's just to leave it and let's see how much it dries up. If it needs more, I will apply more. Yeah, so now it's the next day. It's been the last thing I did last night was to just wipe it down with some paper towels. So now it's to put the paint on. So I'm using one component polyurethane floorboard paint. It's satin, since I don't want the high gloss. And yeah, I know high gloss is really beautiful to look on, as long as it's clean and in good shape, but everything shows. So I've stopped using that. And yeah, that lasts a really long time, so you don't need much. And don't worry, it's white. When it dries, it gets clear. And yeah, I'm gonna apply 4 coats, so that's 1. Yeah, so now it's got 4 coats on it, about half an hour in between. So now it's just to let this dry, and hopefully I didn't apply too thick, because it's as you can see it's white, milky, and if you apply too much, it's gonna stay milky. So now it's just to fingers crossed and wait. Let's see what we have here. The old hatch to bath cabin, the old hatch to the cabin in the front. New hatches being made. That one is oiled on both sides and varnished on this side, so it's drying. That one has paint stripper on this side and oil on the other. The table, it was finished, but when I was fiddling around, I actually accidentally dropped something and cracked the veneer. So now I need to make a brand new table from scratch. Here we have a table that's gonna replace the table down. It's mahogany plywood. The real stuff, not the usual one with standard plywood, then with a small thin veneer on top. This is the entire plywood is mahogany, and the sides is in massive mahogany. This one is really nice. So yeah, the wood is just to start to install back in the bolt. But now it's back to the computer, editing more videos. And as you probably know, I have a Patreon account as well. And and if you want to have more content, especially the deep dive ones, jump over to the Patreon account and check that out. There is a link down below in the video description. But either way, stay tuned, like and subscribe, and see you next time.